Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Global Gaming Network Power Rankings. Today, we're going to jump into Call of Duty. We have the Champions Tournament coming up next weekend, and it is the talk of the town. Everyone's headed up to Kitchener for the tournament, and one of those people that's going to be going is my buddy here, Andy. He's our analyst today, our expert that's going to guide us through the rankings. Andy, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Like you said, packing my bags. I still have to pack my bag. I literally fly out tomorrow. I'm excited to go up to Kitchener. Never been that part of Canada. Ontario is a beautiful place, and what a wonderful city to be hosting a Call of Duty championship.
Yeah, I think that it doesn't matter where on planet Earth it is. You're going to be having a good time if there's Call of Duty to be played. So I'm a little bit jealous, but we had to snag you in before you get on that flight for us. So we're going to go ahead and go through the top 5 teams on our power rankings scale, which is decided once again by the expert consensus score and the performance index. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. You guys don't care about the mumbo jumbo. It's going to be Miami Heretics coming in the number 5 position. They have a score of 57. This team just came off a 4th place and a 3rd place finish in the last 2 majors. Right now, Metals, Real, Rincore, and Super look unstoppable at times, but at other times look a bit more stoppable. Right now, Super and Rincore, 2 of the hottest young guns in the scene. My question for you, Andy, is how high is their ceiling, and do they even have a ceiling?
Dude, I don't even know if they have a ceiling, honestly. I've been watching Rincore and Super blossom as far as an AR duo is concerned way back when, ever since Rancore's departure and then return back into the Challenger circuit. But with all of that being in mind, it's one of those things that I was asking that question back in Challengers. And then they got into the league, and I'm like, okay, well, Rancore is going to get pretty humbled now. Super might get a little humbled right now. And now, like, Super, albeit squash beef, is still kind of in the middle of it. They're at the forefront of the ARs, as far as the league are concerned, that are not named Scrappy and Celium, which is just unreal considering that these guys, this is their rookie season. So I don't know how high their ceiling is potentially could go, because when you get the best of Rancore and Super, you also get the best out of Real and Metals. So this Miami Heretics team may be 5th as far as power rankings are concerned, but you already said it best, Eli. You get that 4th place, then you go into a 3rd place, and you're only losing to the red teams. I quite like that for Miami.
Yeah, it feels like the sky is the limit for the Spaniards. I'm excited for this squad to see how they do at Champs. For me, though, the difference at Champs is I think you get the best out of every team.
Yes.
So the question for me is, like, when every other team is playing their best, can they still perform at that same level? I think they can, but they got to prove it.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, speaking of all that, just stepping up to the plate in general, I think that that's kind of been the nomenclature for the Miami Heretics as a whole. Let's not forget that they are the only team that are a full-fledged national roster, just representing all of Spain. To try to do it, to represent all of Spain, to put that on their back is really difficult to do. And then to go into Major 3 and beat Atlanta FaZe, eliminate Atlanta FaZe, top 6, and then go on to be able to 4th, then 3rd. Yeah, Miami's stepping up to the plate, man.
We'll definitely have our eyes on them as the tournament approaches, but let's go ahead and jump into our number 4 position. And this one kind of surprised me a little bit, and it might surprise some people at home, but we've actually got Optic Texas coming in the number 4 spot. They have a score of 70. A lot of people are kind of high on this new guy, Mercules, and for good reason. I mean, he had one of the best performances of a first-time player in the league that we've ever seen. This team did finish top 8 multiple times this year, but now coming off a 4th place finish, feeling pretty good. I think we've been seeing Hugh. He's always been that dude. He's always so consistent. Shotzi, I think, in a bit of a lull. Dashy's pretty solid. I mean, what do you think about this Optic team? Are they kind of the wild card?
I was the one that also rated them pretty high, I'm not gonna lie. Because I rate Mason that high. Mercules, of course, he's one of those guys that you never really know what you're gonna get until you actually see him in that area, or that environment rather. And that was the conversation going into Challengers. And we're like, okay, well, Mercules is still putting up his casual like 1.3s, which is still kind of nuts for a main AR. And then he goes into the league as a last-second fill-in for Toronto Ultra, and then he assists them to get top 3. Not only that, but he's one of the statistical leaders for the entirety of that weekend. So I think that it's even beyond the copium, and I'm glad that you also shouted out Hook, because Hook, going back towards stage 1, one of the first iterations that we had at Optic Texas from the Black Ops 6 season, was actually their star player. And even towards this point in time, I'm mostly looking towards Hook to constantly be an aggro nature on that map, in accompaniment to Shotzi. We know Shotzi's going to be that flashy player. Hook is that type of player that can play parallel to him on the opposite side, and Dashy's a vibes guy. And if Mercules can step up to the vibe plate and continue to hang out pretty well as far as the slaying is concerned, I imagine that Big Brucey's going to be doing all right as well. So I agree with the green wall that it's even beyond copium at this time. And I'm normally a generational hater, I'm not going to lie, but Mercules buff can go a long way in shattering not just one top 8, but 3 consistent top 8s in a row with 3 different rosters. You go in towards this one with Mercules as the only changing to get top 4, losing to the Thieves in the end. Who knows how high the ceiling is for Optic Texas?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Mercury performs on the biggest stage of them all, of course. Biggest tournament of the year. His first time in one of these. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to Shotzi and Huke, though. I'm a Halo guy, so I know they got some of that Halo chemistry.
Biased.
They got some of that Halo chemistry going into the tournament, so I'm excited to see them pop off together. But let's go ahead and jump into number 3. Now, we just kind of mentioned them when we talked about Mercules. That's, of course, going to be the Toronto Ultra. They come in with a barely higher score than Optic at 72. Now, with Mercules, they got top 3, but without him, they got top 6. So maybe a bit of a downtrend for them. I'm still really excited to see how CleanX and Insight fare on the big stage. These guys have been a duo. They've been so strong for so long. And I want to see Joe Deceives play his best version of Call of Duty, because I feel like his peak, when he is playing at his best, he can absolutely take over the series. How are you feeling about Toronto Ultra right now?
I am also one of those people that would rate Toronto Ultra to be the 3rd best team in the entire game right now, because consistency is key for a game of Call of Duty as much as it is for many different shooters that are actually out there in the world. And Insight and CleanX have been 2 of the most consistent players, regardless of their other duos that they've been playing with since they've stepped into the league. CleanX was in the league back in Modern Warfare 2019. Insight joined him during Cold War, and ever since through Cammy, Bance, now Joe Deceives and Beans, whatever the duo may be, they're always in the conversation for top 5, or maybe could win the whole dang thing. I'm not going to bat an eyelash at the way that they bounce out from Major 4. I think that that's a little bit of an offshoot. Beans was trying to fill into a different role. They were trying to find that chemistry that they were trying to do, and did find success within that top 3 run with Mercules as that last-second substitution at Major 3, where they got top 3. But I still think that this roster is yet to show their true grit. Joe Deceives, albeit the sample size very small for his professional career, I think that he always gets better at the end of the year. We saw it at EWC last year when he was playing under 100 Thieves, and we're starting to see it here again for the Toronto Ultra, even at Major 4, the way that they still lost. Joe Deceives was still a factor for that team.
Yeah, this roster, I think, is definitely a wild card for a lot of people. It feels like they can beat anybody at any time. We've seen in online matches, they've beat literally everyone at some point in time, so it's just a matter of doing it.
And on land too. Don't forget that the last time when they fought LA Thieves back in that lower final, or in that lower semifinals, excuse me, they were the first ones to not only take a control off them, but they 3-0'd LA Thieves on land. That is a title that many people do not actually have.
That's true. There's a very small list if it's not just them. I don't know. We'll have to double check the stats on that, but let's go ahead and jump into the number 2 spot on the list. And there's only 2 teams left. It's pretty obvious who's going to be in the top 2. So let's go ahead and reveal. Number 2 is Atlanta FaZe. So coming in with a score of 89. They had the top 6 finish that was a little bit lackluster for their own standards, for sure. And then a 2nd place at the most recent major, the first time that they actually faced off against LA Thieves in the bracket. But of course, we can't forget that they were started off the season extremely hot. They won, 3 events in a row. This team has the capability to take over. I feel like we're not really seeing Celium be his absolute best self in the last couple of tournaments. But we've also talked about the fact that maybe they're just testing their map pool and playing the long game so that they can have a good performance at this tournament. Is that kind of how you still see things here, Andy?
Well, their best of 7 definitely got tested back in that Major 4 Grand Finals, and it went map 7, but they lost to LA Thieves, who another team on the opposite side are just pure brawn, beyond just even the brain power that they have. For Atlanta FaZe, they are one of those teams that have always done consistently well. We've always talked about the Silver Servers, a handful of years for the Call of Duty League, the Core 3, Celium, Abizi, and Simp, of course. Draza gets pulled in towards the mix, and to Eli's credit, it was, I would say, 3.5 in a row. That half being that minor 1 tournament that they did beat Carolina Royal Ravens win at the beginning of the year, but that one whole tournament being EWC, that was on last year's title. But as far as Black Ops 6 is concerned, Major 1 champions, Minor 1 champions, and Major 2 champions on top of that as well. They get that top 6 in Major 3, but they immediately rectified all of their biggest woes, which were across all the different of the game modes. But it's end of the year Atlanta FaZe. If there's any point in time that you should be putting your stocks into them, it would be right now. All of the testing, all of the preparation that they've been doing in the past month, behind closed doors, keep in mind, we haven't seen Atlanta FaZe play a professional match in well over a month. Whatever those scrimmages and testing are going to be looking like, they have multiple champions on that team in the Tiny Terrors. I would definitely rate their stocks pretty high, but they have been coming up short, so being in second place is justified.
Justified indeed. I think you've got to keep winning if you want to maintain that number 1 position. So we'll have to see if they can bounce back. I'm excited to see if Simp can really be the man that we all know he can be. I know you've been cited as saying he might go down as the best to ever do it when he's all said and done.
I'd agree with that statement. I think that so long as Chris can continue on with this warpath that he's been on, don't forget that he started playing professionally back in 2019 during the Black Ops 4 season, get multiple more MVPs because, in my opinion, he is in that position right now. And just as a follow-up, too, you did say, like, you need to see Cellium play at his peak. This is Cellium at his best. He's still, like, top of the KD ratios because he's always preserving his life. He's so calculated, but we might need to see him step up that pace. I think that Simp, Abizi, and Draza could all take from that same exact testament you were saying from Cellium, especially for Simp, to continue on that GOAT warpath that I just hinted at to potentially overtake Scum.
Okay, well said, Andy. Always appreciate your insight, especially with these top teams. This guy knows more than just about anybody out there. But there's only one team left to talk about. If you follow Call of Duty, you already know who it is. It's going to be the LA Thieves. Nadeshot has got to be so proud of these boys winning the last 2 lands. I was at Dallas DreamHack myself for Halo, but I saw them walking by a few times, and they got aura, man. People would stop and look at it like, yo, is that the Thieves? You know, they're all excited to see them, and for good reason. This team's insane. Hydra had one of the best clips that I've seen all year in Call of Duty. It was the 5-piece in the kill feed, looking like an absolute demon on the map. Do you think they're going to keep up this momentum, or do you think maybe some of these other teams are going to cause some issues for them at the tournament?
It's tough to say, right? Because this team got brought on as the super team. And as said super team, you would almost suspect that they would be winning just about everything. They got the grand finals at Major 1. We're not there. They got top 3 at top 4 at Major 2, and then they went back-to-back spectacular finishes, including the championship to boot. So I think that you're looking at this LA Thieves roster to hit that peak. Once they figure it out and they are comfortable together, they are the best team in the game. Scrap right now has to be the number 1 AR in the league, right? If there's anybody fighting him for MVP, it would probably be his SMG duo of Hydra with the impact that he's bringing into the team as well. Ghosty was the MVP for that team last season when they got second place, losing to Atlanta FaZe at the Esports World Cup. I know, old title, but whatever. Envoy and Search and Destroy has been a problem. Just hear me out on this. For the entire season of what it's been, throughout all of the control so far that has been played, 42-9 for LA Thieves. That's really good. That's more than good. They've only lost 9 control maps out of the 51 that they have played, and that is a guaranteed map 3. More often than not, if they go up 2-0, they are solidifying the series with a 3-0 win. I think that this team, for all layman's purposes, is at the top form right now, and for the first time ever, we're finally saying, Atlanta FaZe, you really got to step it up and almost meet where the line is being drawn, because these 4 guys individually are playing some unreal Call of Duty. Not only individually, but as a 4-player team.
I have to agree. This team is absolutely insane. I can't wait to see if they can step up to the plate on land and make it a 3-peat for, the largest prize pool of the year. It's going to be an exciting watch up in Kitchener. But before we wrap things up, we do have one honorable mention. And this is a team that I was hoping were in the top 5 personally, not an honorable mention, but after a top 12 finish, Vancouver Surge have fallen into 6th place in our power rankings. Of course, recency bias. You lost to the Falcons. You gave the Falcons their first LAN win of the year. They're now, what, 1-12 or something? Like, come on, man. I gotta see my boy Neptune rise to the occasion and lead the troops to victory, because I think he has what it takes. He's just got to put it together on LAN again.
Well, all 4 of them have exactly what it takes, right? When you think about it, even back before Neptune was there, they were still coming up short with Hixie in the roster. But you were still seeing some of those brighter moments from Abuza, from Nasty, that they could fight back against the other teams. And 04 has progressively been getting more and more aggressive with Travis, with Neptune in the roster as well. So I think that we could see the best from Vancouver, but just the scrutiny that we were describing for Atlanta FaZe getting a top 6 because of what happened in Major 1 with the core 3 of the same exact roster, and then top 12 losing to the Vegas Falcons, their first major win of all time, all CDL season. The team's not going to be a chance, but you are. Yeah, we have to knock you down a few pegs, especially when Miami and Toronto in the conversation as well for how consistent their end of the season has been. It's justified that Vancouver surge will probably be 6 at worst.
Yeah, it does hurt because, I mean, we're highlighting their worst moments. If you recall, they still made, what, 4 grand finals appearances?
2 back-to-back second places. But the other thing that I hold them really, really close to is that they were playing in winners finals, Major 2 versus Atlanta FaZe, incredibly close. It was a map 5 round 11. Then they went to grand finals after winning versus Toronto Ultra, and then they didn't win a single map. LA Thieves, same thing, map 5, round 10 in Major 3, down towards lower finals. They beat Toronto Ultra again, and then they don't take a single map off of LA Thieves. They don't have a single map won in grand finals. You can't justify being a better team if you don't even have a single map won in a best of 7, if you've been there or not.
Fair enough. Yeah, well said. It's going to be really exciting to watch. Maybe they can bounce back. Once again, I'm biased for the Halo guys. Neptune started in Halo. He's a beast at it. I'd love to see him come back to Halo, but I think that ship may have sailed unless, they get another top 12. Who knows? But let's go ahead and wrap things up. I'm excited to watch the tournament. Andy's going to be there. We're going to do another one of these power rankings for League of Legends next because we've also got MSI coming up. You guys are going to get back-to-back power rankings videos this week, so you're going to be eating good on the content scene. But my name's Eli the Ninja, joined with Proper Cast. We're here to sign out and say thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next episode.